Welcome back. It's Loki Season 2, Episode 6. It's the season finale or series finale. I guess we'll find out. But based on the box office performance for the Marvels, I would think they would want more content like Loki, which is being critically praised and has an audience and was breaking records for them. I, either transition it to film and do a Loki movie or order a third season, but this is one of the things you're doing right. So keep doing it. Don't mess it up. Figure out where you need to go next, how you need to finish this story, and do it. But I did put spoilers in the title, so obviously we're going to talk about spoilers. Otherwise, I don't know what else I would talk about. It was pretty, and it sounded fun. The end. This does have audio description on Disney Plus, and yeah, I've loved Loki the whole time. To some varying degrees, I think I try to bounce back between A and A minus, basically, depending on the episode, depending on the level of success. And I did give one episode A plus. I loved one episode this season a lot, and the season finale I think is pretty fantastic. And how they managed to get through the Jonathan Majors issue, the question of He Who Remains. I did hear that they were trying to figure out a way how to cut and edit this in a way that would suggest that this could be an exit strategy from Jonathan Majors, which I could see how that works for them. I could see how this show ends and they don't need Jonathan Majors anymore. So, where's Loki now? Loki is now the one who remains. Loki mastered time slipping. He was able to pause time, which surprised He Who Remains. He can travel through time. He can do anything. He's figured it all out. We get to see the classic Loki costume with the horns. I was like, oh my god, it's Loki's horn costume. It's like he realized what he had to do. And honestly, when I watch something, whether it be a film series or a TV show, I think the only thing that's better than a great villain is a writer who can actually redeem that villain. It's to actually take a villain who at one point you were like, oh, I hate this guy so much. Oh, he's terrible. Oh, he's done so many terrible things. He's the best villain. And to take that guy and to flip him and turn him into a hero and give him the kind of redemptive story arc to where you go, you know what? I think he's negated what he did before. Very sadly, Loki has chosen a path, but it's a very unselfish one. Where he figured that the only way for him to keep the timelines alive, to keep everybody in all of these different timelines alive, was to become essentially the Loom himself. He Who Remains had designed the Loom as a failsafe. It was never meant to hold anything more than the sacred timeline. When Loki figures this out, he realizes that they can't fix the Loom. They have to destroy the Loom and replace it. And he has nothing to replace it with, even though he spends centuries learning all this scientific knowledge as much as he can. He's got all this knowledge from being able to time slip back and forth and just keep accumulating knowledge. He finally resigns himself to the idea that the only thing he can do is become the Loom himself. So he gives it up, he sits on a throne, and he holds all of the timelines together. So Loki becomes He Who Remains. And they don't need to go back in time and revive the original He Who Remains, Majors. So Majors only exists in a few timelines as a variant. So they've left it open to where he does exist, and they're paying attention to his variants at the TVA, but they're also, he's not in any sort of position where he's in control of anything. He's not in charge. So I think it's the best of both worlds. He was also being faced for a while there with, do I kill Sylvie? And he couldn't do it. And I just love the character growth of Loki so much. There's so many great moments. The one where he travels back and talks to Sylvie, and she's like, "If you think I'm gonna give you my blessing," and they talk, and he feels it out, and tries to get the kind of advice out of her that he feels like he needs. The same thing he does with Mobius. He goes back to Mobius when he first does this sort of like intake thing and just talks to Mobius. He's like, "How do you know?" And Mobius just tells him a story. It's a great performance from Owen Wilson too, because he kind of drops that jokester guy shtick and just is really just straight with Loki. It's also a great performance from Tom Hiddleston the whole episode. I think it's a fantastic episode, and it's a great way to end the season, perhaps the series, if this is the way they want to end the series after 2 seasons. I could see that. I just don't know where this leaves Loki for the film universe. This feels like one of those things that they perhaps never need to acknowledge again, sort of like Agent Coulson. We revived him for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and then they just like never brought him up. They were like, whatever. Where's he at? I don't know. Okay. Cool. Yeah, so I don't know if Loki will make his way back into the film universe. Obviously, with the Marvels not doing well, which is honestly, you could say a lot of things, but I would say it's still Disney's fault. I would still say it's Marvel's fault. I haven't seen the film yet, so I'm not speaking to its quality, but Warner Brothers saw the sign and they moved Dune. Disney chose not to move the Marvels, even though its actors were not available to promote the film. And yes, the actors' strike ended days before, but that was not going to be enough to allow them to promote the film, to send Brie Larson out there to give her a campaign. I don't think Captain Marvel is one of the more popular heroes right now in the universe anyway. I don't think her film is one of the more beloved films in the franchise. A lot of it is unfair, people just, for some reason, the ones with strong female leads, they're like, no, this is woke. It's not woke to have a female God, we've had female superheroes forever. Like, do you know when the first Wonder Woman comic was? Like, it predates, like, Vietnam and Nixon, I don't know, landing on the moon. So it's just, I mean, if you consider it woke to have a female hero, then we've been woke for a long time. So you need to find new applications for that word other than female hero. So, especially for something like Captain Marvel, where there's precedent, it's not like they gender bent her. And we're like, I can understand some people are like, what's Ironheart? Because it's a newer superhero. And they're like, oh, I get it. It's diversity. It's wokeism. It's like, well, it is a newer superhero, but Captain Marvel's not that new. So, yeah. Loki is probably what Marvel needs. Marvel needs more of the things that work, the things that people actually like, and to trust in directors who are delivering them the kind of work that is worth it. They lost James Gunn, which is a huge blow to them, and they did not let Taika edit Thor: Love and Thunder the way he wanted to, and now there's a whole bunch of bad buzz for that movie. A lot of people don't realize that is not his cut. There's a whole extra ton of crap in that movie that might flesh it out. I really want to see what Thor: Love and Thunder's director's cut is. I want to see what Taika intended, not what they were like, oh, well, it has to be this runtime. I hate when they do that, when they're like, oh, our audience won't sit through a movie longer than this. They've proven time and time again that they will, if the film is good. So, chopping a film and making it shorter does not always work in a film's favor. And a TV series, look at this. 6 episodes, it's nice, it's tight. Could it have been longer? Sure, possibly. It could have been 8 or 10 episodes. But it was exactly the length that it needed. And I think perhaps there's one more season left in the can. Unless we want to leave Loki exactly where he is for the rest of the MCU, which is entirely possible. So, will he who remains remain in the MCU? I don't know. But I do know that I love the Loki season finale. I thought the audio description was really well described. I mean, I got so excited when he transformed into his old school Loki costume. I was like, oh, fan service. I'm a fan. Please service. Thank you. And that, that was fantastic. So, very much here for that. So, I think it's been a great series, and I would love to see more of it, but I'd love to see more of some other things that they've put into their MCU shows. Not all of them, but some of them. And especially some of them maybe taken out of context. For example, I think Oscar Isaac made a great Moon Knight. I don't know what they're going to do with that, but I'd hate for that to be the last time I see Oscar Isaac as Moon Knight. So, there you go. Anyway, I'm going to give Loki, the season finale, possible series finale, an A. I thought it was really good. So, kudos to the cast and crew for creating a strong Marvel project that ironically dropped its, season finale the same day the Marvels was opening, doing its Thursday night previews. So, yeah, good times. It was a very Marvelish weekend for you guys out there in the comic book world. But anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for sticking with me on these Loki reviews. And if there's another season, I will be back with that. Otherwise, I'll be back for the next MCU TV series, which is looking like it's going to be rated TVMA. So until then, I'll see you guys on the other side.